You're leaving money on the table every single time you quote a client without data behind that number. Not a little money, significant money. The kind that, compounded over a year, could mean the difference between grinding through 50 clients to hit your revenue goal or hitting it with 30. And the worst part, you don't even know it's happening. Welcome back to Venture Void. If you're new here, this channel is built for solo founders and small operators who want to use AI and automation to build smarter, not just harder. Today we're talking about a shift in pricing strategy that most freelancers and consultants will never make. Not because it's complicated, but because they don't know the tool exists. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what it is, how it works, and what to replace when you start using it. Here's the real problem. Most solo founders price on instinct. They think about how long something will take. They multiply by an hourly rate they pulled from thin air 3 years ago, and they email that number to a client hoping it doesn't scare them off. That's not pricing. That's guessing with a spreadsheet. And that guessing has a direct cost. Studies from pricing consultancy Simon Kucher show that the average B2B service provider underprices by 15 to 30% without realizing it. On a $50,000 annual revenue, that's $7,500 to $15,000 you handed back to your clients for free every year, because you didn't have the data to justify asking for more. The other side of this is scope creep and underscoping. You underprice because you underestimate. You underestimate because you're not tracking where your time actually bleeds. A website project you quoted at $2,000 quietly becomes a $3,000 engagement because you didn't price in the revision cycles, the client feedback loops, the asset gathering, the 3 Zoom calls you didn't anticipate. You absorb that cost because renegotiating feels awkward. That awkwardness has a dollar figure. Most solo founders absorb between 8 and 12 hours of uncompensated work per client per project without ever naming it. The solution is an AI-powered pricing intelligence layer, and the specific tool category making this possible right now is built around 2 products working together. The first is Ignition, and the second is combining it with a GPT-based analysis workflow. Let's break this down concretely. Ignition is a proposal, billing, and client engagement platform built specifically for solo founders and small agencies. What makes it different from a standard invoicing tool is that it includes scope-based pricing logic, retainer automation, and built-in pricing benchmarks pulled from its network of service providers. When you build a proposal inside Ignition, you're not starting from a blank number. You're working from templated service packages that have been calibrated against what comparable providers in your industry are actually charging and actually winning deals at. That gap between what you think is competitive and what the market will actually bear is often 10 to 20% higher than your instinct tells you. Here's the step-by-step of what a solo founder actually does. You open Ignition, you select your service category. Let's say you're a brand strategist. You build a tiered proposal with 3 packages. Tier 1 is a brand audit and positioning document at $2,800. Tier 2 adds a visual identity system and messaging guide at $6,200. Tier 3 is the full brand sprint including competitive analysis, stakeholder interviews, and a 12-week implementation roadmap at $11,500. Ignition's built-in acceptance tracking shows you over time which tier clients select most often, what language in your proposals correlates with higher close rates, and where clients stall before signing. That data, collected passively across every proposal you send, becomes a pricing intelligence asset. Now layer in the GPT workflow. Every month, you export your proposal data and client outcomes into a structured prompt. You feed it into a custom GPT you've built or a detailed ChatGPT conversation with context about your services, your client types, your average project duration, and your actual time logs from a tool like Toggle or Harvest. You ask it to identify where your pricing is misaligned with your time investment, which service types are generating the highest effective hourly rate, and which client profiles consistently create scope expansion. The output isn't a generic suggestion to charge more, it's a specific recalibration. The GPT might tell you that your social media strategy packages take 40% longer than your brand packages, but are priced at 60% of the rate, meaning your effective hourly rate on social work is $34 per hour versus $89 per hour on brand work. That's not a pricing problem, that's a service mix problem, and without the data, you'd never see it. Real world scenario. Marcus is a solo UX consultant in Austin. He was charging $65 an hour and wondering why he felt exhausted at $60,000 a year. He switched to value-based project pricing using Ignition, built 3 packages ranging from $4,000 to $12,000, and started tracking close rates. After 90 days, the data showed that clients who came from LinkedIn referrals accepted his mid-tier package at an 80% rate, while clients from cold outreach stalled on all 3. He stopped cold outreach entirely. He put that time into a LinkedIn content system. His revenue went from $60,000 to $89,000 the following year, working fewer total hours because he stopped serving low-margin client types he couldn't even identify until he had the data. What this replaces is worth naming directly. It replaces gut feel pricing, which costs you an undercharging. It replaces the hourly billing model, which punishes you for getting faster and more skilled at your work. It replaces generic proposal tools like Proposify or Bonsai when used in isolation without the pricing intelligence layer. And it replaces the reactive scope conversation where you realize mid-project that you're underwater and you either eat the cost or have an uncomfortable call. With Ignition's approval, gated scope expansions, any work outside the original agreement triggers an automatic change order that the client approves before you do the work. That single feature recovers on average $1,000 to $3,000 per client per year for active consultants who were previously absorbing that work silently. Now, the catch, because there's always one, and on this channel we don't pretend otherwise. Ignition costs between $65 and $200 per month depending on your plan. That's not nothing for a solo founder in early stages. If you're under $3,000 per month in revenue, this tool is premature. You need to hit a baseline where the margin recovery justifies the subscription. The sweet spot is founders billing between $4,000 and $15,000 per month, where the underpricing problem is costing more than the tool does. At $8,000 a month, a 15% underpricing correction is $1,200 in recovered revenue monthly. The tool pays for itself in days. The second catch is that the GPT pricing analysis only works if you're actually tracking your time. If you have no data, the model has nothing to analyze. You need at minimum 60 days of honest time logs before the pattern recognition becomes useful. This means running Toggle or Harvest in parallel from day one, not as a billing tool, but as a data collection tool. The investment is 20 minutes a week of honest logging. The return is a pricing model built on your actual economics, not someone else's template. The third catch is psychological. When Ignition or your GPT analysis tells you that you should be charging 30% more, you have to actually do it. Most founders read the data, feel validated, and then discount anyway because the fear of losing the client overrides the logic. The tool gives you the clarity. The discipline to act on it is yours. But here's the reframe that makes it easier. When you raise your prices and a client leaves, you didn't lose a client. You lost a client who is consuming your time at below market rates. That capacity now exists for a client who pays what you're worth. If you run a solo operation and you're still pricing from your gut, you're not running a business. You're running a cost center that happens to deposit money into your account occasionally. The AI pricing layer we covered today, Ignition combined with a structured GPT analysis workflow, is one of the most concrete, actionable combinations available right now for founders who are done guessing and ready to build a revenue model on actual data. If this kind of deep, no-fluff breakdown is what you come here for, subscribe to Venture Void. We publish every week. Next video covers how to build a client onboarding automation that cuts your setup time by 70% without sacrificing the premium experience that justifies your premium price. You don't want to miss it.